when you look at the crowds today, you have maybe 5,000-6,000 people here. On the streets yesterday, 1 million people, 1 million Iranians in the street for the Ayatollah Khomeini. Does that not give you concern? Does that not make you afraid?
Because they are afraid, yeah, that's right. And most of the people don't say anything because they are afraid. And they are in silence, you know, they don't say anything.
Is this the silent majority of Iran out here now?
Yes, that's right.
Do you want the Shah to return?
Yes, Shah, return to the country.
What about you, Shah? Why do you want the Shah? Why does she want the Shah?
ما شاه میخوایم ما بیچاره این
شاه کشتنش حلاله کجای قرآن گفته
47 years we've been bleeding in the dark, under the shadow of the Islamic regime, with a stone-cold heart. They silenced our voices, they turned off our light. 58 days without internet, but we still fought the night. Our children took the streets, they raised their empty hands, and the world looked away. Do you understand? Do you know Europe? Do you know what's been done? Do you know Europe? 42,000 souls are gone, killed in 2 days by a regime drenched in blood. Do you know Europe? Or have you just given up? Do you know Europe? Do you feel anything at all? Or did something break inside you while Iran answered the call? Do you know Europe? 42,000 lives, 2 days, that's all it took. Mothers and fathers and sons, did you even look? We stand with Crown Prince Reza Pahlavi, our hope and voice. Millions behind him marching, he is our only choice. He only fights for freedom, democracy and human rights. But you mock him in your chambers while he fights for our lives, to pull us out of this darkness, this century-long night, while you sign deals with our killers and call it diplomatic right. Do you know Europe? Do you know what's been done? Do you know Europe? They hang 60, 40 souls one by one, hanged within 4 months by a regime drenched in blood. Do you know Europe? Or have you just given up? Do you know Europe? Do you feel anything at all? Or did something break inside you while Iran answered the call? Do you know Europe? What happened to you, Europe? What made you so cold? What turned your heart to stone? while our story went untold. Is oil worth more than blood? Is silence worth the shame? Because while you negotiate with murderers, we are dying, calling your name. Do you know Europe? Do you know what's been done? Do you know Europe? 42,000 souls are gone, killed in 2 days by a regime drenched in blood. Do you know Europe? Or have you just given up? Do you know Europe? We are still here. We are still strong. Do you know Europe? How much longer? How much longer? How long? Do you know Europe?
To all of our friends around the world, under the yoke of the Islamic Republic, Iran is identified in your minds with terrorism, extremism, and poverty. The real Iran is a different Iran, a beautiful, peace-loving, and flourishing Iran. It is the Iran that existed before the Islamic Republic, and it is the Iran that will rise again from its ashes the day the Islamic Republic falls. So let me be clear about how a free Iran will act towards its neighbors and the world after the fall of this regime. In security and foreign policy, Iran's nuclear military program will end. Support for terrorist groups will cease immediately. A free Iran will work with regional and global partners to confront terrorism, organized crime, drug trafficking, and extremist Islamism. Iran will act as a friend and a stabilizing force in the region, and it will be a responsible partner in global security. In diplomacy, relations with the United States will be normalized, and our friendship with America and her people will be restored. The State of Israel will be recognized immediately. We will pursue the expansion of the Abraham Accords into the Cyrus Accords, bringing together a free Iran, Israel, and the Arab world. A new chapter will begin, grounded in mutual recognition, sovereignty, and national interest. In energy, Iran holds some of the largest oil and gas reserves in the world. A free Iran will become a reliable energy supplier to the free world. Policymaking will be transparent. Iran's actions will be responsible. Prices will be predictable. In transparency and governance, Iran will adopt and enforce international standards. Money laundering will be confronted. Organized corruption will be dismantled. Public institutions will answer to the people. In the economy, Iran is one of the world's last great untapped markets. Our population is educated, modern, with a diaspora that connects it to the four corners of the world. A democratic Iran will open its economy to trade, investment, and innovation, and Iran will seek to invest in the world. Opportunity will replace isolation. This is not an abstract vision. It is a practical one, grounded in national interest, stability, and cooperation. To achieve this, now is the time to stand with the Iranian people. The fall of the Islamic Republic and the establishment of a secular, democratic government in Iran will not only restore dignity to my people, it will benefit the region and the world. A free Iran will be a force for peace, for prosperity, and for partnership.
وقتی واسه غم نی گرچه قصه هامون کم نیست همه خسته این قبولم ما فرصتی واسه ماتم نیست روشن میشه فردا خورشید سرزمین ما سرم باز و سینه سپر بلند میگم جاوید شاه وقتی واسه غم نی گرچه قصه هامون کم نیست همه خسته این قبولم ما فرصتی واسه ماتم نیست روشن میشه فردا خورشید سرزمین ما سرم باز و سینه سپر بلند میگم جاوید شاه روبروم یه واژه یه هدف به نام انتقامه پشت سرم دعای مادر و تو دستم تفنگ بابامه رو زبونم اسم شاه بگین این عشق بی انتهاست هر جا اسم ایران اومد اونجا صدای بچه رضاست فردا می نویسن تو کتاب قصه دیمار بگو با تیر جنگی کشتن بچه های بیگناه رو بگو از بخت مادرها شیر زنا و دخترامون بگو تنها شهید شدیم تا تنها نمونه شامون وقتی واسه غم نی گرچه قصه هامون کم نیست همه خسته این قبولم ما فرصتی واسه ماتم نیست روشن میشه فردا خورشید سرزمین ما سرم باز و سینه سپر بلند میگم جاوید شاه وقتی واسه غم نی گرچه قصه هامون کم نیست همه خسته این قبولم ما فرصتی واسه ماتم نیست روشن میشه فردا خورشید سرزمین ما سرم باز و سینه سپر بلند میگم جاوید شاه وقتی واسه غم نی گرچه قصه هامون کم نیست
همه خسته این قبولم ما فرصتی واسه ماتم نیست روشن میشه فردا خورشید سرزمین ما سرم بالا و سینه سپر بلند میگم جاوید شاه
سلام من به تو یار قدیمی منم همون هوادار قدیم
سید سلام چطوری مردک کلی کتلت شدین دایی بدون مدرک سلام بسیجی قهرمان رفتی پیش توسی با پنیر و یه نون سنگک سلام به محفل قرآنیتون سلام به مدیرای بحرانیتون سلام به حاجی اکبر و طوله هاش و خارج و رفقای ارگانیتون سلام به دزدای پول ملت که تش میفتین توی تور ملت سلام به همه شما کرکسایی که دارین نونتون رو میزنین تو خون ملت ساکتش زیر دست و پاک و تک بخورین حالا هی به یه بادکنک بدوین سلام آخر تو زندان باشه وقتی قرار به این آب خنک بخورین مکبر ملا متولی ننگ در دنیا ننگ بر دوتا مجاهد چپی بعد از ملا مکبر ملا متولی ننگ در دنیا ننگ بر دوتا مجاهد چپی بعد از ملا اینو بگذاریم به خاک میرسیم تجزیه طلبی که به خاک بیرسیم ایران مردمش وطن پرستن از کرد تا بلوچ بری به فاک میرسی توف به هر چی مرسی است توف به هر کی در پی تجزیه است توف به لوی و همونی که شیفته ی گل ملیگرا تو وطن خدا نفتی هست سر کردستان همه برپا شدن بلوچستان فدای مهسا شدن شم واحد که شیر و خورشید ما بقی جعلیا تنها شدن شادی باشه واسه همه در میهن کور بشه چه شهرچی اهریمن رخه رو بگی تا اون 6 کلاس سواد و خبرگان و مجد سری ترجیحن شبهای عروس و دامادی باشه برن سلامتی نوش کنن آبادی باشه مقصد کجاست میدون شهیاده به سمت اتوبان آزادی باشه سلام به نسل ندید پدیدا نبودیم ندیدیم قدیمتی ما شاه بود تو شادی کل میزدین حالا شاه بر میگرده پیک میزنین مکبر ملا متولی ننگ در دنیا ننگ بر دوتا مجاهد چپی بعد از ملا مرگ بر ملا متولی ننگ در دنیا ننگ بر دوتا مجاهد چپی بعد از ملا مرگ بر ملا متولی ننگ در دنیا ننگ بر دوتا مجاهد چپی بعد از ملا
فاهنگ به این خوشگلی با نایده بود اسم این مشخواهن رو توش بیاریم ولی خب لازم بود دیگه فکر کنم با نایده
Let's go. میخوام بگم از دلم، از عشق به این میهنم، به امید روز شکست دشمن شاه برمیگرده به وطن. برگشتن پهلوی، وحشت هر اجنبی، بلند بگو همشهری شاه رضا پهلوی. نظام رسیده پرتگاه، بلند بگو جاوید شاه. برگشت شاه به میهن، دوای درد وطن. این آخرین نبرده، پهلوی برمیگرده. داره میاد پهلوی، زجه بزن سید علی. راه نجات وطن، پهلوی هموطن. ایران میشه گلستان، شاه که بیاد به ایران. ایران که شاه نداره، حساب کتاب نداره. آخون باید گم بشه، توپ تانک فشفشه. گم شو بیرون اجنبی، داره میاد پهلوی. فریاد بزن جاوید شاه، شعار هر وطن ها. ما شاه میخوایم نه ملا، بذار بشنوه دنیا. ایرانی داد بزن، شاه تو فریاد بزن. برگشتن پهلوی، وحشت هر اجنبی. بلند بگو هموطن، شاه رضا پهلوی. فریاد بزن جاوید شاه، شعار هر وطن خواه. بلند بگو جاوید شاه، شعار هر وطن خواه. فریاد بزن جاوید شاه، شعار هر وطن خواه. فریاد بزن جاوید شاه، شعار هر وطن خواه. بلند بگو جاوید شاه، شعار هر وطن خواه.
Look at us here today. We see so many flags representing so many nations. We know we are not alone, and we thank you for being with us. For all people around the world who stand today in unity with the Iranian people, this is not just because it's good for us, and you do it out of compassion and care for our rights to liberty and justice and equality and human rights. But understand that it is in your best interest too, to have, unlike this regime that has been propagating terror and radicalism, we the people of Iran are peacemakers and not warmongers. We like to be friends, especially with the free world. We'd like to be able to have the best neighborly relationship with the people of our area and the region, with the Arab countries, with Israel, and all our other neighbors. We are fighting for justice, we're fighting for human rights, we are fighting for liberty, we're fighting to put an end to all sorts of discrimination. Because as an Iranian, I stand here to tell you that I've dedicated 47 years of my life because I think that my country deserves far better than what we have right now. To now understand that their best remedy is to support the people of Iran, because ultimately a free Iran will be your best partner, not just to bring stability and peace, but it will be in your best economic interest and opportunities. Together we can prosper again, and the world will be so different once the Iranian people are free. I am here to guarantee a transition to secular democratic future. I am committed to be that leader of transition for you, so we can one day have the final opportunity to decide the fate of our country through a democratic, transparent process, through the ballot box and free elections. And let's make sure that this time, especially the free nations of this world and their governments, stand on the right side of history.
Well, Durud Patriots, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. Welcome to day 152 of Iran Revolution Live with your wonderful and amazing host, Mr. Armin Navabi.
And your wonderful and amazing host, Goldie Ghamari.
Thank you. And for those of you who don't know, the reason that we say Mr. Armin Navabi is because he's now a big deal because he was quoted in that article. Where was it? Was it the Washington Post?
Wall Street Journal.
Wall Street Journal. So Armin was quoted in the Wall Street Journal as Mr. Navabi. That's why we refer to him as Mr. Navabi, because Armin's moving up in the world soon. He's going to forget all about us. He's going to forget all about us. It's a big deal now. So,
wow.
Armin, how are you doing today?
Good. I'm feeling so much better now that I'm doing my Persian shows again. I'm doing 2 Persian shows a day.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So now I'm doing 10 hours of live streaming a day. Wow. Basically 6 shows every day, 6 live streams.
Wow. I don't know how you manage that. Well, I mean, I do know because we used to live stream 10 hours a day anyways, or more.
Yeah.
But
Yes.
Wow. Busy times for you. What are you hearing on the Iranian side?
So there, a lot of Iranians are trying to manage regime's attempt to make Iranian people lose hope. Trying to use. Oh, Goldie, you're gonna love and hate this. So, a lot of Iranian people from inside Iran are angry with CNN. So angry with CNN because the state TV constantly shows them clips of CNN as proof that the Americans are admitting that they have lost, and Iran International has been lying to you. There is no hope for this. America is losing this. Islamic Republic is winning this, and they are watching Tucker Carlson and CNN are like your favorites apparently of the state TV.
Well, I mean, we're the ones who exposed both of those, right? Like we first exposed Tucker Carlson back on January 8th. And we've actually seen like references to CNN on Islamic regime state TV. So, yeah, I mean, CNN has pretty much become a propaganda mouthpiece for the Islamic regime. That's why they've allowed CNN reporters to go in and report from inside of occupied Iran. So, not surprised there. Before we start, I got a quick super chat on Rumble. It's called a Rumble rant. And I'm just going to send you the link in the studio chat so that you have it there. But apparently, let me just remove the comments here. So Tolkor said, yesterday, Armin, someone wanted someone to provide the immigration to Europe infographic. I found it on Telegram. This link points to it. So I just sent you the link there. And thank you, Tolkor, for finding and sharing that link. I know Armin will find it very useful.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Thank you. Oh,
great.
And thank you, Goldie, for passing it on.
Yeah, absolutely. Of course. Of course. Yeah. So, okay. So where do you want to begin today?
Okay, so we know that we had a breaking news from Fox just posted this. We want to maybe get I would love to hear your opinion on this. You know, one thing before I read it, I want people to remember something that people are not discussing every time we hear stuff like this, and some people get frustrated, is that the sanctions and the blockade is still on. Like people are like, oh no, another 60 days. As long as the blockade is still on, every single day the Islamic Republic is getting weaker. So time is on our side. I mean, I know a lot of Iranian people keep thinking justifiably, like every single day, the Iranian people are suffering economically and it's really difficult. The thing is that the Islamic Republic is also suffering. And I understand that a lot of people, when they see a news like this, they feel like, oh, things are not moving in the right direction. But just keep in mind that for as long as the blockade is on the Islamic Republic, every single day the Islamic Republic is getting weaker. Remember that, right? So what are your thoughts on this, Goldie? So we have breaking, Fox News just posted this saying US-Iran negotiations negotiators agree on a 60-day memo of understanding to extend ceasefire and launch negotiations on Iran's nuclear program, but Trump has yet to give final approval, sources tell Fox News. One thing to understand, people, before we hear what Goldie thinks about this is the memo of understanding. This is not a deal. Okay, so when they say Trump has yet to give final approval, that means not even the MOU has been agreed on. And the MOU is not the deal at all. It's a framework to maybe discuss, maybe getting to a deal. But again, remember, also a deal could be a surrender deal, and this all might be just buying time for United States to attack in the middle of all of this, right? Just like what happened with Operation Epic Fury. But yeah, so this was breaking news, Goldie, just before we went live. So what do you think about this?
Well, I mean, again, I think the most important part of this breaking news is that President Trump has yet to give final approval. We also know, and I commented on this yesterday. I shared a post. I think I bookmarked it, or maybe not. But remember, like Rapid Response called out someone on Fox News yesterday, and it was with like similar type of information or things like that, and Rapid Response was like, you can't trust anything coming from the Islamic regime. So there's a couple of things about this. First of all, Fox News doesn't say who the sources are. Like, are the sources coming from the US admin? Are they coming from the negotiators? Are they coming from the Islamic regime? We don't know. And again, this is subject to final approval. Now, having said that, I don't see this ceasefire actually changing anything because, first of all, like you said, the blockade is still on. The economic sanctions are still on. The Islamic regime is losing $500 million a day. And on top of that, last night, there were more strikes by the United States in Bandar Abbas against IRGC targets. And, I think at least 4 IRGC people were exterminated. We're trying to find out who. And then on top of that, the Islamic regime, for some reason, attacked Kuwait last night as well. So this is like the strangest ceasefire I've ever experienced. I mean, if this is how ceasefires are supposed to work, this is like the worst ceasefire in the world because IRGC is still being targeted and exterminated. So, I mean, yeah, all this means is that the ceasefire just, it's basically saying the status quo is the status quo, right?
Right.
And to me, this signals that obviously no deal has been made. So let's say if the Islamic regime is pushing for an extension of the ceasefire, that's again part of their, delay tactics and delay strategy. Whether or not President Trump is going to agree to this, I don't know. But again, we don't know the source of this news. And that makes a big difference, whether the source is coming from the US side or from the Islamic regime side. And I see people in the chat. They're saying that apparently Fox News is quoting this from Axios, and we know how reliable Axios is.
Well, here it says sources tell Fox News, so they're saying that I mean
that could be anyone. That could be someone from Axios calling them and saying that.
Well, I think you're right that we don't know who their sources are, but I think Fox News is the sources. Well, if the source is another media, they wouldn't usually say like sources tell Fox News. They would say like according to Axios. So yeah, we don't know who the sources are, but I doubt it's another media I think they talked to somebody directly. But yeah,
Okay.
that also is possible. Yeah, so Goldie, the way, so summarize what you were saying is basically this is the least ceasefire in the history of ceasefires. That's what we like to say. But also to make that point, look at this. The okay, the IRGC is saying the region will not see peace until Israel is destroyed. So that's how far, again, another reminder, that's how far these people want to take it. This is why you're not going to have peace in the Middle East until the Islamic Republic is gone completely. Yeah. So just in the middle of all of this, the Islamic Revolutionary Guard came out and said that the Middle East would not see peace until Israel is destroyed, dismissing what it called U.S. President Donald Trump's vision of peace as one of killing, murder, and terror. The statement came after 2 Hamas commanders were killed in an Israeli airstrike in Gaza. Thank you, Israel. The guards said the killings would not weaken what it called the Palestinian resistance. Yep, basically nothing. This nothing but scratch, and would instead strengthen the fight for the liberation of Palestine and Jerusalem. Goldie, I have a plan for the Islamic Republic, right? Because apparently every single time that one of these people die, the resistance gets stronger instead of weaker, right? So why don't they just all die? Like, why don't you just you know how you get maximum strength? If every time we kill one of you, you get stronger rather than weaker, then let's get you the maximum possible strength that you could get. Let's just arrange for every single one of you to die, and then the resistance would have maximum, unlimited, infinite power by then. If we just do that, I think that will work out for you guys, given that this is how you calculate power. Yeah.
I actually have the Fox News clip talking about the ceasefire. If you want me to pull it up and we can watch it.
Sure. Let's see. Maybe it's Axios then. Yeah.
Well, I don't know. I'm just saying that's what people in the live stream were saying, but we'd have to find out ourselves.
Breaking news. We can now confirm that the U.S. and Iranian negotiators have reached an agreement on a 60-day memorandum of understanding to extend the ceasefire and launch larger negotiations on Iran's nuclear program. This is significant. Sources are telling us that it is now awaiting Trump's final approval, and the signing of this agreement would be the most significant breakthrough since the war started. But a final agreement that addresses Trump's nuclear demands would still require further talks. So this is a memorandum of understanding. It's significant. And Harris, I spoke to a senior administration official at length Sunday, and they were emphatic, saying no dust, no deal. So if they've reached this, you would think that there's a deal on the dust, the enriched uranium.
Well, I don't know, because what you just said, and by the way, Axios had this a couple of hours ago, and I don't know how many other networks, I still hadn't really seen it break. We all needed to confirm this for ourselves. And so now that Fox has done that, we're talking about it in more detail now. But I don't know if it deals with the uranium that's been enriched and whether or not we take it out of that country, leave it in the ground, what kind of a deal would be worked around. The president has said that if we don't deal with that aspect, then it's not a good deal for the United States. What this to me is about is that Strait of Hormuz. I mean, that's what this is telling me. And because it's a 60-day ceasefire and we're not that far into this one, right? We're about 55 days or so into this one. So it's almost doubling the time that anybody might have thought we would have done it. And this is about money and resources. They had to open up their internet a couple of days ago in Iran. They are getting crushed economically. They do a lot of commerce. Well, all of our countries do online. They weren't able to do that. That was not, by the way, for giving the citizenry more freedom on the internet. No, they can't move anything out of their Iranian ports because of the U.S. blockade. So they got to try to do business a different way. And Marcus, I see you nodding at me. This comes down to money. And we're taking that real live look of ships that are waiting to kind of get through the Strait of Hormuz, what that could look like. If this loosens up oil, remember, UAE just pulled out of OPEC and OPEC Plus. They could flood the market with some oil. We know that we are able to process the crude, the tough crude coming out of Venezuela. Our ports are ready to go along the Gulf Coast. This could be a huge impact in the oil industry, bring down prices pretty quickly and flood the market with oil. I think it's really interesting. I don't know, though. They just tried to hit one of our bases in Kuwait, and Kuwait had to like intercept that Iranian missile. I don't know if they can sit pat. We know the ceasefire has already been pretty shaky.
Marcus, let me read you a quote from this senior official. This is what they said. This was Sunday. We have a deal on the nuclear stockpile. We have a deal on the Strait of Hormuz, but we are negotiating language. There's not a deal until there is a deal. And they said it'd be 5, 6, or 7 days. This tracks with that, and it would be monumental.
It tracks with it, but it's still not a deal yet. And I think that's important. And when you look at one thing that I always want to remind everybody, we went to Iran because we have a zero tolerance policy for nuclear weapons.
Right.
But we are at a point where the economic crisis is starting to brew a little bit. Inflation came out this morning at 3.2, 3.3. That's problematic. Energy seems to be stabilizing a little bit. Oil dropped a little bit this morning. But when you look at what that strait does to boats, to baskets, to balance sheets, to a lot of different things, consumers are starting to really feel it. And in the summer, we know that oil prices go a lot higher just because demand is a lot higher. I think this is a perfect balance of we don't need to blow people up. We need to get money flowing, and we need a period of time to negotiate how that's going to work. I think this is classic textbook Trump negotiation.
You know, and a lot can happen in 60 days. We've seen Iran acting out. Also remaining to be seen, President Trump said he was demanding Saudi Arabia and these other Gulf states join the Abraham Accords. Yeah. Does that happen?
Yeah, you know, and I thought that was very interesting when he announced that, because he's adding a new layer to things. When people were worried, oh, you know, what's going to happen with this? Is President Trump on his back foot? He's saying, no, no, no. Yesterday, I thought it was very interesting when he said, and it was a message to both the Iranians in charge of their government right now and Americans, saying they think they're putting pressure on me with the midterms. No, I feel like this is not just a legacy building moment for President Trump. It's more than that. It is about international security. So it's not just about, you know, another election cycle. It's about our children and our children's children and our overall safety. So we do await details on what this deal actually means and what is actually being reached. But just from a 30,000-foot view here, you know, there's this constant narrative, and I see it every single day, that the Iranians have somehow have the upper hand here, when they have absolutely no leadership class. Their navy is at the bottom of the Strait of Hormuz. They have no air force, minus some, you know, small drones that they can use. And that's basically their attack force right now. And the internet being turned on has given us another level of insight into the fact that the Iranian government is also facing internal pressure. Remember that part of this whole war was started, and at the beginning of it, we were thinking that maybe the Iranian people could rise up and take things over themselves. I don't know if that's going to happen, but it's certainly not off the table. If you read some of the messages saying that they feel like prisoners, that they are deeply upset with their own government, and speaking out about it in the face of public hangings that are happening right now is something to be seen.
They have to be armed.
Yeah, no doubt. And
citizenry that's not armed.
Rosanna.
Wow. Even like on this show, they're basically saying that they have to be armed. Like they're talking about arming the Iranian citizens here. Did you catch that, guys?
Yeah. So, by the way, guys, this was promoted way before everyone else on Iran Revolution Live. And now you can see that the things that you heard months in advance on Iran Revolution Live, you're now hearing it being discussed everywhere. Even you know, Fox News is now promoting that idea. It's amazing.
Messages saying that they feel like prisoners, that they are deep thinking that maybe is also facing internal pressure. Remember that part of this whole war was started, and at the beginning of it, we were thinking that maybe the Iranian people could rise up and take things over themselves. I don't know if that's going to happen, but it's certainly not off the table. If you read some of the messages saying that they feel like prisoners, that they are deeply upset with their own government, and speaking out about it in the face of public hangings that are happening right now is something to be seen.
They have to be armed.
Yeah, no doubt. And
citizenry that's not armed.
Rosanna, if you zoom out 30,000-foot view here, if in fact you do have countries like Saudi Arabia and others join the Abraham Accords, if you do have a deal on the nuclear uranium, this would shift the balance of power in the Middle East. It would be a legacy-defining moment for this presidency.
I think that's what everybody is hoping for around the world. And let's face it, Americans, we want peace And the president promised that he was going to wrap this up quickly. So let's hope that everybody gets on board and we have something going forward.
They want peace, but they want prosperity.
And they want
and
safety.
the strait is,
And they want
is an
safety.
economic warfare choke point. And I think the president is balancing out, how do I take care of my citizens and give them prosperity? And how do I provide world peace? And how do I balance those two? And this particular statement today makes it feel like he understands that balance.
Be sure to like and subscribe for all the
Wow. That the narrative that they're putting out, right? The narrative that they're putting out, that's exactly the narrative that we want. And I'm really grateful that they were talking about the fact that Iranians are basically like prisoners, and they hate the Islamic regime. And you know, there's public hangings and things like that, and the people have to be armed so they can rise up. Like, I'm really happy to hear this narrative, Armin. Like, this is monumental, because we've never ever heard this sort of narrative or rhetoric from mainstream media before, ever. Like, never in the last 47 years have I ever heard news reporters talking like this, right? Like, even like last year, not even like 4 or 5 months ago, no one differentiated or distinguished or made a distinction between the Iranian people and the Islamic regime. Everyone thought that it's one and the same, right? But now everyone is seeing this difference. And you know, the Islamic regime's attempts to silence the Iranian people for the last 47 years, and the Islamic regime's attempts to make the rest of the world think that Iranians hate America and Israel and, you know, the free world, and that Iranians are these, like, you know, Durka jihadi terrorists, right? Like, they convinced the world of that for so long, and now all of, like, that entire false narrative has pretty much been shattered.
Yep, it's broken. And how fast, right? Because so many people just a few months ago, they just comment in the chats here, like, sorry, just a few months ago, I thought you guys are all Durka. And now the whole world knows.
The whole world
that's
knows.
thanks to the, and that's thanks to the Iranian people and also Prince Reza Pahlavi.
Yes.
Their bravery educated the whole world.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we have been fighting the Islamic regime's propaganda for so long. And Armin, I really do believe that the internet has played a huge role in this. The internet, and of course X, and, you know, platforms like YouTube or things like that, where, you know, someone like, you know, me or you, we can just come online and speak and shatter that narrative. Like, we would not have been able to do this, you know, 10, 15, 20 years ago.
Right.
But today we can. And, you know, this is something that the Islamic regime never banked on. And so, wow, I'm just very grateful to see that people are finally making that distinction between the Iranian people and the Islamic regime that is occupying us and holding us hostage. Wow.
Yeah. And
Okay.
to your point, Goldie, this is why the Islamic Republic finds the internet to be a major threat.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go to the next news. What are we hearing from inside occupied Iran, Armin?
We're hearing this. How do I bring this up? There you go. We're hearing Khamenei, Mujtaba, or allegedly, is warning against division amidst U.S. talks. And to me, this warning shows that we were right, Goldie, that, you know, before everybody else was talking about how the division among the, like, everything is causing more division and infighting among the Islamic Republic. We were telling people that this is the greatest weakness of the Islamic Republic, and this, everything that we're experiencing is leading to that. And when Khamenei allegedly is coming out and speaking, warning against division, it shows that it's happening, right? So let's look at this news. Iran's Supreme Leader Mujtaba Khamenei urged lawmakers not to turn political differences into division. I think this statement is going to backfire because it's going to make it more apparent that how much internal division exists among pro-regime people. For the supreme leader to come and warn against it is an admission that they're dealing with the highest levels of division. And guys, every time people get like, oh no, this is not going in the right direction, why are we talking about deal? Why are we talking about the deal? This is the results of everything President Trump is doing with the ceasefire and the mind games that he's playing with the Islamic Republic. I genuinely believe that the Islamic Republic we would not be able to effectively get rid of the Islamic Republic with military action and even with uprising alone. I genuinely, let me know if you guys believe this in the chat. I genuinely believe that playing these games with the Islamic Republic that causes this amount of division among the regime was not just a good thing that we added to all of this fight, but it was an essential, necessary part of this. I think the Islamic Republic would have been able to survive much, much longer if all we were doing is bombing it and all we were doing was doing uprising against it. I think the ceasefire, the playing with the deal and everything has caused a lot of division. And like I've always been saying, like we always have been saying here, that is the greatest weakness of the Islamic Republic that has to be taken advantage of, right? And you can see now we have confirmation. We have absolute confirmation and admission, but from the highest powers within the Islamic Republic that this is working. So Iran's Supreme Leader Mujtaba Khamenei urged lawmakers not to turn political differences into division. In a message to parliament, as its speaker, Mohammad Bagher Ghalibaf leads Tehran's negotiating team in talks with the United States. The message issued to mark the anniversary of the opening of Iran's parliament and the start of the third year of the current Majlis came as parliament has only recently resumed open sessions after the war. And it continues by saying the message also comes as questions persist over how closely Ghalibaf and the negotiating team are coordinated with Khamenei on the substance and direction of the talks. He said lawmakers and other political elites should avoid turning disputes into public fracture, arguing that enemies were seeking to exploit internal division after the war, basically admitting that the Americans are being very effective at causing internal division, right? And he continues by saying, he added that those who care about Islam, the revolution of Iran's independence, should not turn unwarranted and even warranted differences into conflict and division, and even warranted differences into conflict and division. Guys, not that many people look at this. This post by Iran International got only 24 likes, and not that many people talking about it. But based on what I know about what we know about the Islamic Republic, I tell you that this is such an important part of what's happening. And if the Islamic Republic is to fall, this admission here shows to us what the Achilles heel of the Islamic Republic is and how we could solve the problem in Iran, the Middle East, and the whole world. Like this is how we solve so many of the problem in the whole world. And so many people are focusing on the military aspect of it, and they're not focusing on the internal politics of the Islamic Republic. Look, it only got 25 likes. I want you guys to pay more attention to this. This is why Goldie always goes on Seda Sima State TV, shows you like the state propaganda. You guys are experts at understanding the Islamic Republic because we hear you guys understand the Islamic Republic. It's important to understand the internal politics of the Islamic Republic, because if you know your enemy, it's going to be easier for you to defeat it. This is not just a military fight. This is an information warfare. This is a psychological warfare. And this is how you have to understand if you're moving in the right direction or not. Okay. And then another message from...
Who do you think sent this message?
I think when we look at the Beit Rahbari, the office of the Supreme Leadership, we should look at it as an institution rather than a person. Yeah. Okay. So I think the institution of the Beit Rahbari. Okay, so let's go to... I think the Beit Rahbari was chaotic right after Khamenei died, and other people were speaking on behalf of Mujtaba. But now the Beit Rahbari finally got a little bit more organized, and they're like, "Shut up, everybody! We speak on behalf of Mujtaba. Stop, Vahidi, Qalibov. When we put statements on behalf of Mujtaba out there, it needs to be confirmed by us, not you guys." So guys, 10 years ago, Ali Khamenei came up with a quote saying that Israel would fall within 25 years. Well, Israel will not see the next 25 years. And yesterday was the 10th year anniversary of that quote, right? So that's why on that day, Mujtaba came out and said, Israel will not survive the next 15 years. And now they turned that quote into a billboard inside Iran. Let me actually zoom in, and they put the message in Hebrew on it as well. So here. So this is basically the time, basically showing that Israel is ending. Star of David in Hebrew. Israel is not going to see the next 15 years. And so let me actually read the text on the billboard. And I get that.
And Armin, just a heads up, Scott Bessent is going live at the White House at 2 p.m. So I don't know if he's going to go, I don't know if it's going to start right at 2 p.m., but I'm going to be keeping an eye on that for sure, because I feel like he's going to be speaking about Operation Economic Fury.
Economic Fury. Ooh, okay. That's good. Thank you, Goldie, for keeping an eye on all of this. Guys, remember, Goldie sees everything. Okay, so this is what happened. So Iranian media published images of a new billboard in Tehran declaring that Israel would not survive the next 15 years after outlets circulated a message attributed to Supreme Leader Mujtaba Khamenei predicting Israel's destruction. The message said Israel was approaching the final stages of its existence and referred to a 2015 speech by former Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei saying Israel would not exist 25 years later. The slogan appeared on a billboard in Tehran's Palestine Square. Guys, remember, it's Israel that is causing all the war in the Middle East, okay? Not the Islamic Republic, apparently. Islamic Republic is just defending itself. And apparently, according to some idiots, isolationists in the United States, if Israel didn't exist, the United States wouldn't even be at war with the Islamic Republic. I wonder what this billboard is then. I wonder, these are the Islamic Republic for 47 years has promised ending Israel completely, wiping it out off the map. And these idiots think Israel should just accept that and take it without a proper response. Then we had this. Another news from inside Iran. Commander of the IRGC of Revolutionary Guard in Tehran said Iran's armed forces were at peak readiness and had launched new military drills immediately after fighting stops. So the mechanisms are designed in a way that allow a response to any enemy action in the shortest possible time. Hassanzadeh, by the way, remember that name, said on Thursday. Hassanzadeh also said attacks on besieged centers during the conflict had failed to weaken support for the paramilitary forces. Okay, look at this. He didn't say it failed to weaken the paramilitary forces. He said it failed to weaken support for paramilitary forces. Okay, so that's a confirmation to me that it did weaken the paramilitary forces. Okay. Sure. And yeah, we can't support, of course, pro-regime people still support them. I mean, what a stupid claim. Why would support for the Basij drop because of the attack? The Dorka people who support the Basij are going to continue to support the Basij in the Dorka ways. So look at how he was trying to get away, because he obviously thought, when he was making that statement, should I say it didn't weaken the Basij? And that is too stupid. People are going to call me out on that. I'm just going to say it didn't reduce the support for the Basij. Well, duh. Every Dorka jihadi Islamist, retard there is going to continue to support the Basij even after they've been attacked. Why would that reduce the support? Thank you for saying nothing at all, basically. Also, it's important to remember that President Trump said no to this as well, which is good because a lot of people were concerned. Russia came out and said that they were ready to help Iran's enriched uranium. I'm just saying, reading it off the screen. When I say Iran, obviously we mean the Islamic Republic. But then President Trump said, no, thank you. So this is good because the enriched uranium going to China has been rejected by President Trump, and the enriched uranium going to Russia has also now been rejected by President Trump. By the way, guys, I see your super chats. We will read them shortly, okay? Maybe before we go to Scotty B, but we will get to them. Thank you for the support. So look at this. Russia said on Thursday it was ready to assist in the removal of enriched uranium from Iran, while urging Tehran and Washington to keep negotiating and avoid a return to armed conflict. Russian Foreign Minister spokesperson Maria, I'm not going to read that name, said Moscow was prepared to help with the uranium issue, but was not imposing its initiative. So this news is not complete because it should have mentioned that President Trump, I saw the news already that President Trump said no to this, right? One thing I want to look at here, like, guys, look at this. The Islamic Republic was claiming that they could bring oil prices to $200 by closing the Strait of Hormuz. We are at 85. I kid you not. Look at this month. We had another recent drop. Month over month, oil prices have dropped 26%. 26% month over month, which shows the Islamic Republic doesn't have nearly as much influence in the global economics as they hoped they had, which is, yeah, they completely failed, right? And all the leftists hoping that the Islamic Republic was powerful enough to have such an effect, now they have to go, I don't know, cry in a corner somewhere, right? But not only that, look at the S&P. Holy, look at this. Yeah, this is every day that I think, every single day that I think, oh, okay, today we're gonna have a correction. Like, what the hell? How does this keep going on? It's to the moon. But like, guys, this is now we're hitting historical highs. Eventually, there's going to be a correction. But the fact that it's going up this high in the middle of a conflict in the Persian Gulf is like crazy, right? So year over year, it's up 28%. 28%. You guys know, like, what's normal is like 12, right? Like, this is crazy. This was a beautiful year for anybody that owns money in the stock market. And guys, again, S&P is American companies, but American companies are global companies. So this is a good way to measure global economic growth, right? Not just United States, right? So I do want to go to this video from Fox News, because it's recent and it's important. Goldie already mentioned about the Kuwait strike, but this is such a big deal that this happened, and I think we need to actually figure out, like, look into the details. So let's look into that.
Also in the Middle East, a potential deal between the U.S. and Iran remains in limbo as U.S. forces accuse Tehran of an egregious ceasefire violation by carrying out a strike on Kuwait overnight.
Chief Foreign Correspondent Trey Yingst is live in Tel Aviv with the ongoing conflict. Hey, Trey.
Yeah, hey guys, good morning. An exchange of fire overnight after Iran launched drones toward a commercial vessel attempting to pass through the Strait of Hormuz. CENTCOM says at least 5 one-way attack drones were spotted and then shot down in this area. A U.S. strike was then conducted against a control station near the city of Bandar Abbas that was about to launch another drone. In response, the Iranians launched a drone and ballistic missile attack against Kuwait, targeting a U.S. base there, according to Iran's IRGC. The Kuwaitis confirmed an attack on their territory that triggered sirens and alerts. CENTCOM released...
Guys, we're in the middle of a ceasefire, by the way. Keep that in mind while we're listening to all of this, okay? This is a ceasefire, apparently.
The statement saying
the worst ceasefire I've ever experienced.
1 stars, 1 recommend, okay? As ceasefires go.
and alerts. CENTCOM released a statement saying U.S. Central Command and regional partners remain vigilant and measured as we continue to defend our forces and interests from unjustified Iranian aggression. The exchange of fire comes amid efforts to reach a deal between the United States and Iran. President Trump spoke from the White House on Wednesday, saying he would only accept a great deal and that he would not be comfortable with Iran exporting their highly enriched uranium to China or Russia.
China or Russia. This is so good. This is so good. Guys, the more every time we get confirmation from President Trump that he's not budging in on any of his red lines, that we get a higher possibility, a higher probability that we're not going to get a bad deal. Not going to get a bad deal.
Iran is very much intent. They want very much to make a deal. So far, they haven't gotten there. We're not satisfied with it, but we will be. We will be either that or we'll have to just finish the job.
We're also tracking developments in the conflict between Israel and Iran's largest proxy, Hezbollah. The IDF launched a series of heavy strikes overnight, targeting...
Ooh, guys, Israel, I don't know. I know we're all focusing on Iran. So a lot of us, here we're not as much focused on what's happening in Lebanon, but Israel was cooking last night. Oof, so many terrorists are not with us anymore since yesterday because of Israel. Thank you, Israel, for making the world a safer place. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And by the way, guys, Israel aggressively attacking Hezbollah also makes it very, very less likely for us to be able to get a deal with the Islamic Republic, right? This is Israel's way of telling the Islamic Republic to go F yourself. You can't control me, because the Islamic Republic was making one of the most important red lines, conditions of the Islamic Republic for this deal is hands off Hezbollah. Hands off Hezbollah. It's actually kind of more insane than that. The full version is hands off Hezbollah, Hamas, Houthis, Kataib, Hashd al-Shabi, Zainab and Fatimiyun forever, with guarantees by United States that neither United States or Israel will ever attack him again. And I kid you not, the expectation is for United States to remove all of these groups from being categorized as terrorist groups, including Hamas, by the way, including Hamas. Hands off Hamas, apparently, by United States and Israel. Just let them all be. That's one of the demands of the Islamic Republic. And no. How about no? And Israel is doing it, like basically went a lot more aggressive against Hezbollah to demonstrate to the Islamic Republic that they have zero influence over what Israel as an independent nation state gets to do when it comes to defending itself against Hezbollah, who's bombing northern Israel. And so many people in Israel cannot even live in their homes, and they have abandoned their residence. And Israel apparently is expected to just allow that to happen. Just allow it to happen without responding to Hezbollah, because the Islamic Republic has some demands of the United States. That is, the audacity of even asking. Well, here's your response. How do you like? Let's actually see that explosion again here. Here's the response, Islamic Republic. So many Hezbollah people are now dead because of this demand that you made of Israel. So you're welcome. Good job.
Just finished the job.
We're also tracking developments in the conflict between Israel and Iran's largest proxy, Hezbollah. The IDF launched a series of heavy strikes overnight, targeting the southern city of Tyre and further north in Sidon after evacuating.
Yeah, somebody in the chat saying thousands of goats are saved. Oh, yep, think of the goats, guys. Think of the goats. Happy for the goats. Save the goats.
Evacuation orders were given. At least 8 people were killed overnight.
In this strike, I feel for the people who left their homes and livelihoods and came seeking shelter. This building that was hit had 6 apartments occupied by poor families who had fled from the south to escape the attacks there, only to be hit here.
Yeah, Hezbollah terrorists, you can't run away. You can't hide anywhere. When you flee the south, you get targeted wherever you go. Guys, you know, and I know, and that everybody else knows, that Israel doesn't target civilian. If you were targeted, you're a goddamn terrorist.
The IDF says they carried out a target.
Not that guy was a terrorist. I don't know who that guy was, but whoever was targeted that caused that explosion, whoever was over there, I don't know who was over there, but probably was a terrorist.
only to be hit here.
The IDF says they carried out a targeted assassination in the Lebanese capital of Beirut just about 2 hours ago. And as we were speaking, guys, you could hear Israeli fighter jets over the skies of Tel Aviv, an indication there may be another bombing campaign against southern Lebanon in the minutes ahead. Guys.
Good. Don't stop.
Trey, thanks so much. A lot of moving parts. Yeah. It's I just don't know how you talk to these people at the same time this is happening.
It doesn't seem like they want to talk.
No, and it doesn't seem like they're on the same page.
Okay, these people get it. That's good. And then, oh my God, I love this guy. Let's go to this guy. Oh, he has the best takes.
Jesse Waters, yeah.
Yes.
Fox News alert, we just carried out a new wave of strikes in Iran. The Pentagon confirming to Fox that U.S. forces struck 4 Iranian drones posing a threat to the Strait. CENTCOM also bombing an Iranian military site that was seconds away from launching a 5th drone. We're told these strikes were purely defensive and intended to maintain the ceasefire, quote unquote. This comes just after the president called a high-stakes cabinet meeting at the White House today. The main topic, Iran.
Well, I think we're doing very well. I think are starting to give us the things that they have to give us. And if they do, that's great. And if they won't, then the man on my left is going to finish them off.
The man on his left, Pistol Pete.
We're going to use maximum lethality, and we're going to bring them to their knees. And so whether it's their Navy that's at the bottom of the Persian Gulf, their Air Force, their air defenses, or their defense industrial base, they may have missiles, but they can't build more right now. And they can't build more drones right now. And they can't build more ships. And so they came and cried uncle to talk.
Administration sources believe a deal.
You know, I really hope that when they come and beg United States to talk, I hope they record all of this. And one day I hope they just release that for us to see how these people behave and talk when they're desperate. Like, and I know they all act tough in front of the cameras and on their state media, but there must be a recording of these people somewhere in the White House or somewhere crying and begging, asking for mercy.
Still imminent. We're using the carrot and the stick.
I think there's been some progress and some interest, and we'll see over the next few hours and days whether progress could be made. I just want to remind everybody, Mr. President, you know this well, you have other options available to you if that doesn't work. But the bottom line is that we prefer the negotiated diplomatic route, and we're going to give it every chance to succeed.
The markets are bullish on the...
Yeah, you know, one thing that people need to understand, that United States is a democracy, and it has international relationships that it matters to it for with all sorts of countries around the world. So for abiding by international norms and by abiding by its own standards in the United States, even if it wanted to eventually go and do maximum aggressive military operations against the Islamic Republic, it does need to gain legitimacy and have demonstrate that it has exhausted diplomatic methods to get a job done before it can. A lot of people look at United States military capacity and ability and its military capital, and they forget that that's just half of it. You also need political capital, because if you're a democracy, you don't just having military capital is not enough to conduct military operation. You also need political capital, and to demonstrate to your own citizens and also the other countries around the world that you have full legitimacy to do such an aggressive all-right war against the Islamic Republic, exhausting the diplomatic methods to demonstrate that the other side is being unreasonable is one of the steps that you need to take.
Negotiated diplomatic route, and we're going to give it every chance to succeed.
The markets are bullish on the deal. The Dow and S&P hit record highs today, and oil fell to the low 90s. That's after we gave them another love tap earlier this week, and then just now, wiping out members of the Guard after catching them laying mines.
I love how everybody is calling it a love tap now, ever since President Trump said that.
Earlier this week, and then just now, wiping out members of the Guard after catching them laying mines in the Strait. The regime's response? Not much. Their negotiators kind of ignored it to keep peace talks on track. And they're trying to put a leash on the Guard, telling them to quit with the...
By the way, this is making the pro-regime people really angry. Okay, the news that the Americans did this and there's still ceasefire is making the pro-regime people like feel humiliated. They're asking like, what else do the Americans need to do for you guys to basically stop the ceasefire? Like, why are we just not attacking them? Why are they coming out and killing? They killed 4 IRGC soldiers, and we're not responding. We're not basically calling the ceasefire off. Like, how much are we going to allow the Americans humiliating? How much more humiliation are we going to be tolerating?
Peace talks on track. And they're trying to put a leash on the guard, telling them to quit with the straight shenanigans if they want to live to see another day. The mullahs have no choice. The clock's working against them.
They're just going back to the internet because they're getting clobbered. Their economy is in free fall. They have 250% inflation. Their money has no value. Their whole economic system is broken down. They thought they were going to outweight me. You know, we'll outweight him. He's got the midterms. I don't care about the midterms. Look what happened last night. That was the prelude to the midterms.
The Iranians are looking for the relief valve. Big steel companies in Iran are completely shut down. Israel blew them up, and paychecks are bouncing.
Yeah, you know what? Some people are saying like, oh, guys, we haven't begun to even see the effects of higher oil prices. You have to give it. They try to threaten the United States and the global economy to show the Islamic Republic is winning. They say you haven't even, like, the effects of high oil prices will take some time to really show how damaging it is, and the American citizens are going to feel it, feel the pain soon. You just wait for it. That's what they say. You know, when they say that, they don't say the other side of this. They don't say that, okay, if it takes some time for you to really feel the pain for the higher oil prices, what do you think the Islamic Republic is going to do? Because that is true. All of this economic devastation against the Islamic Republic, the steel factories, the inflation, the inability to sell its oil and gas, the hurt that the Islamic Republic is experiencing right now is very insignificant compared to the hurt that is going to eventually start feeling very soon once we go 1, 2, 3, 4 months into this.
While our economy still the largest in the world.
By the way, guys, thank you for the super chats. I'm gonna read them soon. Thank you guys for supporting the channels.
Up, and paychecks are bouncing. Meanwhile, our economy still the largest in the world. Our GDP bigger than China, Germany, and India combined. Plus, now we're getting fresh batches of sweet crude from our new amigo.
Over 10 million barrels of Venezuelan oil have been delivered to the United States since the 3rd of January. That industry is being professionalized for the first time ever. It's going to the benefit of the Venezuelan people. They are selling oil in the market at market rates. The money's going to a...
Ooh, that sounds so good. Imagine, guys, if we Iranians, if we could finally sell oil at the market value in the free markets around internationally around the world. Do you know how much prosperity that is going to bring to us?
An account in the United States, controlled and monitored by Treasury, audited by KPMG, and it's...
Yeah, look at this. Texas is saying we felt higher pain under Biden admin. Yeah, true.
For the first time ever, the money's not being stolen. It's going to the benefit of the Venezuelan people.
Meanwhile, the Iranians can't get any oil out. 109 of their ships, they've been 180'd. The blockades cost them $20 billion and counting. Their ships are sanctioned and stuck. Iran needs the deal, and they're asking for a little moolah. We froze billions of their assets at the start of the war, and they want us to thaw out some of the bank accounts ASAP. But we're not giving them their allowance back if they don't follow orders.
Is the U.S. considering easing sanctions on Iran to allow Iran to sell its crude to market?
No, we're not talking about any easing of sanctions or giving money. No sanctions, no money, no nothing. We have control of money that they claim is theirs. We'll keep control of that money. When they behave properly and when they do what's right, we'll let them have their money. But right now, we're not doing that. And it's not, one thing is not contingent on the other.
The message from the White House is no dust, no deal. The Iranians only get their money after they open up the strait and blow up the uranium. But these Persians are squirrely. They're trying to put in the deal that they can control the strait with their neighbors on the other coast, Oman. Trump's...
I don't think you should call them Persian, though. I think it's a They don't deserve the word Persian to be used to describe them.
Like, that's a joke, right?
The strait's going to be open to everybody.
And who would control
It's
it?
international waters. Nobody's going to control it. We're going to watch over it. We'll watch over it, but nobody's going to control it. That's part of the negotiation that we have. They would like to control it. Nobody's going to control it. It's international waters, and Oman will behave just like everybody else, who will have to blow them up.
Oman's an ally, but if you turn into a pirate, we'll turn you into an enemy. The Russians and Chinese also want to help with the uranium. Trump says, stay in your corner.
Would you be comfortable with Russia or China taking their stockpile of highly enriched uranium, and have they offered to do that?
No, I wouldn't be.
The president wants to personally see the uranium destroyed. And once that happens, we have a deal. But the president's throwing a curveball in the negotiations. He wants the Arab world to sign on to the deal, too. And if they don't, there may be no deal.
We'd like to have them.
You know, President Trump made getting to a deal much hard. Like, people are like, oh no, this is getting into a deal. And all of a sudden, President Trump's like, oh, I have another request. For this deal to work out, we also need, I don't know, Pakistan, Qatar, and Saudi Arabia to join the Abrahamic Accord. So basically, President Trump just made the deal even harder to reach. Thank you, President Trump.
Immediately joined and Steve Witkoff is working on that with Jared and some others, but would like to have them join the Abraham Accords. It'll be historic if they do it. And we would, I think they owe that to us, to be honest. I think, because that really would be a tremendous sign. And I think those countries owe it to us. I'm not sure we should make the deal if they don't sign. You want to know the truth?
Scott Mann's a retired lieutenant colonel, former Green Beret, and co-founder of Task Force Pineapple. Okay,
I think we got the updates. Goldie, are we doing super chat time or Scotty B? Or
I mean, we should. I mean, we can definitely go to super chats, and I'll keep an eye on the White House because it hasn't started yet.
Okay, it hasn't started. Okay, guys, it's super chat time. Oh,
sorry, I have to change the layout. There we go.
Okay, there we go. Okay,
I forgot to change the layout.
It's okay. I'm like, oh no, the super chat layout hates me. It kicks me out every time. Okay. All right, let's go to the super chats. We have PC. Thank you so much, PC, for the super chat. Say more woke nonsense. British Museum stopped event today. What? British Museum stopped event today on ancient Israel and Judah. Reason some people booked to attend were troublemakers.
Oh my gosh.
Oh.
You know, Armin, there was actually a terrorist attack in London yesterday. An IRGC supporter ran over an Iranian activist. And he's in critical condition in the hospital.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Do we know who it was that ran over him?
Yeah. No, I don't think we know yet. I don't know. I have to double check the update. Sorry, I thought you asked, do we know who was ran over? We know who was ran over, but do we know the person? I don't know yet. I'm waiting for updates.
Wow. Stay safe out there, guys. Stay safe. Iranians and Jews especially, and everyone else actually, stay safe. And also, guys, this is why we need Zionism. Nowhere in the world will ever be able to provide guaranteed safety to Jews. This is the whole point of Zionism. This is why we need Israel. This is why Jews all around the world need to have their own country. Jews have historically experienced and learned that they can't rely on nobody but themselves for security. For thousands of years, they always relied on other powers to protect them. And it always, at some point, it stopped. And the very powers that they were relying on many times either collapsed or turned on the Jews themselves. This is why we need Israel. This is why the only people the Jews could rely on to make sure that they provide security and safety to them is the Jews themselves. This is why Israel having a powerful military is the only answer to the anti-Jewish hate that is deep-rooted, global, ancient, and persistent. And thank you, PC, for bringing this to our attention. And then we got Omid with a super sticker. Thank you so much, Omid. Very generous, very kind, very sweet. Thank you. And then we have Blue Anderson Rickers just became a member. Thank you so much for your membership. We appreciate you. Thank you for that. And then we have Jean saying, how is the food situation in Iran? Thank you. Expensive, very expensive. People who could afford red meat can't even afford eggs right now. So what we have is that the rich people feel right now like the middle class feels like poor, and I can't even imagine what the poor people feel like that. But everything has become dramatically more expensive. We have empty fridges, so the food is there, by the way, like you just can't afford it. It's not like if you go to the store there's no food. If you go to the store there's plenty of food to buy, but it's just unaccessible to so many people because it's just so expensive. It's so expensive. So we're having a huge deal. The main problem that we're facing right now is malnutrition because of inaccessibility of food. And that is really severely harming children, because malnutrition in children has devastating long-term effects. And by the way, Jean, thank you so much for asking. I really appreciate your care. Really appreciate your care. So thank you for that. Thank you for your bringing attention to this. And then we have Justin. Justin, thank you so much for the super chat. Saying the more Fox and other MSM talk about the Iranian people becoming free, the harder it will be for Trump to make a deal that keeps the IRGC in power. Why would that keep I don't think so. Why would that keep the IRGC in power? The more Fox and MSM talking about the Iranian people becoming free, I think it's the opposite.
No, Armin.
Maybe I read it wrong.
Yeah, you read it wrong, because he's like, the more that Fox and mainstream media talk about Iranian people wanting to become free, the harder it's going to be for President Trump to make a deal that keeps the IRGC in power.
Sorry, I read it wrong. Sorry, guys. This is my third stream. Okay, let me redo this. Okay, the more Fox and the mainstream media talk about the Iranian people becoming free, the harder it will be for Trump to make a deal that keeps the IRGC in power. Okay, sorry, guys. I apologize. It's my third live stream today. To get more sleep. Yeah, I mean, you're very right. You're very right, because it empowers the Iranian people, and empowering the Iranian people weakens IRGC. Bringing attention to the Iranian people is a good way to include them in these negotiations, given that the Iranian people themselves are not armed, to make themselves relevant in these discussions. People, mainstream media and Fox News and you and us and everybody else that has any following talking about the Iranian people makes them matter. Us talking about the Iranian people make the Iranian people matter more, and their wants and what they demand will be more likely to be taken into an account, and the so-called deal will look more like a surrender deal the more that the Iranian people are involved in these discussions. So on point. Thank you, Justin, and I apologize for misreading it at first. I'll try to do better. But yeah, and then we have Michael just became a member. Thank you so much, Michael. Appreciate your support for the channel. And then push-ups with a super chat saying, my take, I get that the mind games work, but it's exhausting. Yes, I completely agree. It's exhausting. It is what we have to do nobody said revolutions are easy. Nobody said like bringing down tyranny is going to be easy, but it is exhausting. I completely agree with you. It's dragging things out, and the attention span of American public is finite. True, but that has a cost. It also has a benefit, okay? Because the cost is that the people who maybe are on our side, maybe they will stop paying attention to this and move on. That's the cost associated with this. So you're very correct on that. But you have to also notice that the people in America who are anti-Israel and leftist or woke right, woke left, who are anti-American, they're also moving on maybe to something else, maybe to Cuba now. So if they lose focus, then that would be the silver lining on this. But yeah, you're right. Actually, the problem is that they're more insistent when it comes to their activism. So maybe it's not that much of a silver lining. But let me just say this, push-ups, as exhausting this is for us, it is more exhausting for the Islamic Republic. So we have to look at the net effect. The net effect is that the Islamic Republic is suffering more day by day than what we are experiencing here. Our exhaustion is like the price that we have to pay for suffocating the Islamic Republic, both politically and economically. Let me know if that makes sense, and let me know if you agree with that. And then we have Adams. Actually, going back to that comment, the main thing that makes this difficult is that while we're exhausted, the Iranian people are dealing with the economic hardship. That is the main thing what makes this waiting difficult. That is the number one thing that makes this waiting difficult. And then Adam, thank you so much for the super chat saying Goldie's see everything. Wait, did I?
Hey, Scott's going live.
Okay.
I believe, are the most
How about
important
this,
benefits
Armin?
for young people since the GI Bill. Today, the app is now available.
I will keep an eye on Scott speaking, and then when he goes to whenever he goes to Iran, I'll let you know and we can tune in. So I'll be paying attention to the super chats, but I'm going to mute my mic so that you guys don't hear the audio coming from the video. But I'll be monitoring him.
Thank you, Goldie. All right, Adam is saying Goldie sees everything, and when Armin says something that's wrong, but if Goldie says that the same thing is right. Okay, yes. So if I say something is wrong, when Goldie says the same thing, it automatically becomes the right thing.
That is a very accurate statement. That is true.
Yes.
That's so funny, Adam. Funny comment.
Good one. Thank you, Adam. Okay. And then Casey, thank you so much for the super chat saying Armin's fury gets me fired up at work. Okay. Well, good. Okay. Source of energy. Okay. And then we have Shannon. Shannon, thank you so much for the super chat. Very kind, very generous, saying people need to learn theory of mind. Don't ask, what do I think about their statement? Ask, how will party X, Y, Z think about, react to the statement? Oh, interesting. Okay. I'll try to keep that in mind. Thank you, Shannon. That's a very interesting way of thinking about it, right? And then we got another super chat by Shannon. Shannon saying, if you ignore substance of statements, deal almost there, and focus on the intended effects on the parties involved, it all makes more sense, less alarming. This is perfectly stated, Shannon. Perfectly stated. Every time you see these statements, the way to evaluate what's happening is what effect they're trying to have on who. Perfectly stated. And this is why we always monitor the effect of the statements by President Trump on the Islamic Republic rather than judging the statements as their own in a vacuum. Very well, very well. Yeah, Shannon gets it. Shannon gets it. And then we have William. William, thank you so much for the super chat. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. Saying, imagine not just the oil at market value, but also rare earth element, in addition to tourism and agriculture after Iran gets proper irrigation. Yes, there's so much potential. Iran has, if I even start talking about the potentials and the opportunities in Iran, this stream is going to go for like hours. But yes, I do think that Iran is the greatest missed opportunity of history. And I don't say that just because I'm Iranian. This was evaluated and confirmed by economists, non-Iranian economists. And then we got another super chat by Push Up saying, anyway, about veganism. Oh, no, I'm not going to fall for that. We're not going to. Oh, I see what you did there. We're not going to fall for that. Not here. Not here. But thank you for the super chat. So, you see, Goldie's watching. Goldie's like, nope. Don't derail the conversation. Or you tried to get me in trouble with Goldie, didn't you? Okay. Okay. PC, thank you so much for the super chat. Saying that happened in Golders Green. Yes, I saw. Yeah, we played it. Saying that happened. So what PC is talking about is some I don't know, Islamic Republic terrorists, probably, whatever. One of these pro-regime people in Golders Green in the UK drove over an Iranian, an anti-regime Iranian, just basically running him over. That happened yesterday. So PC saying that happened in Golders Green. I was there a few hours before. Oh my God, really? The kosher store I used burned down yesterday. What? They say no. They say not suspicious. What the hell? So what? So many things happening. That's crazy. Okay, PC, just like stay safe, and also maybe go to Israel. I don't know. I mean, I shouldn't make recommendations like that. But guys, if I was a Jew living in the UK or in the United States, I would move to Israel by now. I would be like, yep, this is I'm not putting my family through this. I'm not putting my family through this. I'm just gonna go to Israel. So I know it's not. I know it's a lot easier said than done. I know that. But I'm just saying personally, if I was a Jew, I would be like, yep, Israeli citizenship, here I come. Yeah, not suspicious. My butt, exactly. How is that not suspicious?
Armin, if we could just kind of go through the super chats. I don't think there's too many left, just because I do want to go to Scott. He started speaking about oil, so I want to.
Okay. I'll do them really fast then. Cheryl, thank you so much for the membership gifts. Thank you so much, very kind. Spring Fauna, thank you so much for the super chat. Saying, Goldie, if you have time, please watch Promethean Actions live stream from 11 a.m. this morning. They discuss a lot of things about Iran. Armin, you do you. Well, thank you. Okay, thank you for the recommendation.
Thank you for the recommendation.
Yeah. And then we have Bobcat say, my saying is, if you have the will and follow through, you will preserve and I feel our patriots in Iran. Okay, let me read that again. My saying is, if you have the will and follow through, you will persevere. Okay. And I feel our patriots in Iran will overcome and get freedom. Thank you so much. Love from the US. Love back right at you. And thank you for believing in us, Bobcat. And then we have Milk Cat Woman saying, oh, nothing, saying nothing, just supporting us with a super sticker. Thank you, Milk Cat Woman. Okay, Goldie, that was the super chats.
Thank you. All right, so let's go to Scott.
Scotty B.
First, well, we're starting to see this disruption of the oil supply through the Strait of Hormuz affect economic data. First, is there a deal on the table for a 60-day ceasefire to continue that? And then second, how fast could inflation then recede or retreat, or is inflation sticky? Because the PCE was at a 3-year high.
Well, first of all, PCE today, month over month, was 0.2, which was, we're looking at decimal points, but the estimate was 0.3. So 1 month doesn't a trend make. And what we've seen is actually oil prices are down about 10% in May. There are almost 2,000 ships waiting to come out of the Gulf. And I think the oil market is going to be very well supplied on the other side of this, and that we could see prices come down very quickly. We saw the UAE, leave OPEC. So I would expect on the other side of this that gasoline prices will follow.
Is there an agreement on the table?
Sorry?
Is there an agreement with Iran on the table?
The teams have been going back and forth, and President Trump has made it very clear, he talked about it at the cabinet meeting, that he has several red lines. And Iran has to turn over their highly enriched uranium. They cannot pursue a nuclear weapon. And the Strait of Hormuz, back to your question on energy, has to free transit. Navigation of the seas has to be free and open as it was before. So he's not going to take a bad deal. He's going to make a great deal for the American people. So, Peter,
Thank you, Dr. Besson.
Yep.
How long until we see your signature next to President Trump's face on a $250 bill?
Well, again, as Treasury Secretary, I have two mandates for U.S. currency. At present, no living person can be on U.S. currency, and the currency must say, "In God we trust." So right now, there is proposed legislation that in front of the House, in front of the Senate, to change the first requirement so that a living person, Donald J. Trump, could be on a $250 bill. So it's all in the hands of the, it's all up on Capitol Hill. So at Treasury, we prepare things in advance. So we have prepared in advance that if the legislation is passed, but we will stick to the law.
And something that came up yesterday also at the cabinet meeting, President Trump said, Oman will behave just like everybody else, or we will have to blow them up. Are you guys back there in the West Wing making plans for a new war with Oman?
Again, I think the president wanted to punctuate freedom of navigation in the strait. I had a call with the Omani ambassador this morning, and he assured me that there were no plans for tolling the strait. As he said, our countries have had 200 years of good relations. He wants to have another 200 more. And I told him that this was a non-starter, and he did not want to risk either the Omani individuals or Omani financial institutions getting sanctioned.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. Is it in the U.S. interest to waive some sanctions on Iran or to unfreeze some of their assets before Iran has made concrete promises about getting rid of their nuclear program?
I'm not going to preview the deal, but I would think that the things would go very slowly in terms of that. So we'll see.
Just to follow up on that, because it's our understanding that the U.S. has committed to discussing the matter of sanctions relief during this negotiation period. So just to be clear, is sanctions relief for Iran on the table?
Again, it is a multifaceted agreement, and nothing is going to be on the table until we see the Strait of Hormuz open and the Iranians agree that they have to turn over the highly enriched uranium and that they can't have a nuclear program. And to be clear here, that this administration, President Trump, has done something that no other administration is able to do. We have gotten the Iranians to talk about their nuclear program and to perhaps commit to not having one. That has never happened before. It had been off the table. So I think when you look at the results of the kinetic action of our economic pressure, it has worked to bring them to the table and have a discussion on this.
Mr. Secretary, I just want to follow up. You said that the teams have been going back and forth, but can you confirm whether or not a tentative agreement has been reached in these negotiations with Iran?
Again, everything depends on what the president wants to do. And President Trump is not going to make a bad deal for the American people, for the U.S. And he was very clear at the cabinet meeting on the yesterday what he wants.
Secretary, Kara from Lintel TV. I'm sorry, did I steal his question? Because I'm not that person.
No, it's you.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you for taking my question, Kara from Lintel TV. I really wanted to get your thoughts on digital currency. A lot of our viewers are increasingly worried that digital currency could one day be used to track people's spending or limit personal freedom. What's your philosophy on that, and what safeguards is the Treasury and its administration putting in place to make sure new digital payment systems protect Americans' privacy and freedoms in the future?
Well, so this administration has been very clear. There will be no central bank digital currency, which I think would be the first step toward tracking. So we have taken that off the table. We passed stablecoin legislation with bipartisan, and the Clarity Act is now up on the Hill. I think it has bipartisan support. And the most important thing we can do is to make digital assets come into the United States, make the U.S. the home, our regulation, our best practices, or what will ensure good standards for these. When you look at digital assets, all the nonsense that happens, all the things you read about, that's because it's the wild, wild west offshore. So we got to bring it on shore. So I would encourage the House and the Senate to get clarity done. Jack?
What was that?
What was that? Wow, because my mic was muted. I think the feedback came from them.
It's low in volume
now.
I know.
This
It was a
It's back.
technical. It was an audio issue on their end.
weaponization fund over at DOJ. Wanted to get your comment on the decision process, as much as you can tell, how that settlement came to be, how it was rolled over to DOJ, and then the process for those funds now as it's played out.
Good. So thank you for the question. This is going to be the only question I'll take on this matter today. So there's ongoing litigation, so it'd be inappropriate for me to comment. President Trump is a great American who has endured more than 10 years of nonstop harassment and weaponization from the federal and state government actors. A bad actor at the IRS leaked more than 400,000 tax returns, including the Trump family, all the employees, and that's how we got here now. No American should be targeted for political reasons, and every citizen deserves fair treatment and full protection of the law. The Department of Justice represented Treasury and the IRS in this matter, and I'm going to have to refer any questions to Acting Attorney General Todd Blanche. So,
Thanks. So President Trump has said that we can expect interest rates to come down very quickly a number of times that last week, but the market at the moment probably does not expect any rate cuts this year. You know, JP Morgan said this, Morgan Stanley, and so on. So who is right, the president or the market?
Well, I think, again, I believe that we will get through this challenging period now. On higher prices. On the other side of this, I've said publicly that I think we'll be back to substantial disinflation. But most importantly, I think we've got the Warsh Fed now. It's a new day at the Fed. The Treasury Secretary and the Fed Chair have lunch or breakfast every week. I had my first breakfast with Chair Warsh this morning, and I believe that he will do the right thing to balance inflation and growth.
Secretary, thank you, Secretary Bessent. I hope you were calling on me.
Yes.
So I'd like to ask you if you could provide a little more detail on what you're doing to shut down Iran's airlines, and also on sanctions relief. A senior administration official briefed reporters over the weekend that sanctions relief will be commensurate with nuclear concessions. But at some point, if the enriched uranium is given up, should we expect pallets of cash to be flown to Iran? Could you describe how that looks?
Well, a couple of things. On the airlines, one thing that we're not going to do is restrict movement for religious reasons. So Iranians who want to make the pilgrimage to Mecca or Medina will be allowed. We will also allow valid humanitarian reasons. But the other thing we can do is that when these airlines fly, they have to be refueled. They sell tickets. They pay landing fees. Anyone who accepts those, we will sanction. So they should be very clear that the state-owned Iranian airlines, they are outlaws and cannot do this.
Secretary.
Since you're the White House briefer today, I know you've been asked this already, but I'm wondering if you can just confirm on the record that there is a tentative deal that has been agreed for a 60-day extension of the ceasefire and then a continuation of nuclear talks.
Again, it's always a mistake to get out ahead of the president, so it is all going to be the president's decision. I think that we can see that the president very clearly stated his three: the open the strait, highly enriched uranium, no nuclear program. So
Are those things part of the temporary deal right now, sir? Are those three aspects that you just outlined part of the temporary deal that has been agreed?
But if there can be no deal without those, why would there be a deal without those?
Mr. Secretary, thanks so much for taking the time. President Trump at the cabinet meeting said he thought that reducing fraud would help to balance the budget. You put out the goal of getting the deficit to 3% of GDP. What's your timeline for achieving that? And how do you think what can you say to make the markets, given where rates are, like kind of process kind of what your plan and agenda is?
Well, the GAO numbers, not my numbers, believe that there's about 500 billion a year of fraud. So could we very quickly get 250 billion of that? The budget deficit is approximately 1.8 trillion. So that would reduce the deficit substantially. If we could get that 500 billion number, I think it would engender confidence. You'd probably also go into a virtuous cycle. As the budget deficit narrowed, interest rates would go down. No one reports it, but last year we actually had a fiscal contraction. Just to remind everyone, we inherited the worst budget deficit in history when we were not in a recession or not at war, 6.7%. We brought that down to about 5.5 or 5.4% this year. I think we can stay on a good trajectory.
Mr. Secretary, without an executive order, does the U.S. government have adequate defenses in place to address the risk created by Anthropic's new AI models?
We have great collaboration between all of the labs that have the large language models, but between the U.S. government and the labs. So,
Thank you, Mr. Secretary.
Yep.
Is me? Okay. Thank you, Mr. Secretary. Appreciate it. First, did you speak with the president before this briefing? Did he show any willingness to this 60-day ceasefire extension?
I haven't seen the president today.
And then I just want to follow up. When can Americans, the average American, and can the U.S. economy work for the average American without a deal with Iran?
Again, I believe we've already seen oil prices come down substantially. We are pumping more oil than we've ever seen before. And as I said, these are short-term challenges that we will get over, and I think we'll move forward. So, in the white?
Mr. Secretary, just to follow up.
No, in the white.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Secretary. Appreciate it. Given how much this upcoming midterm election will hinge on the economy, what did you think about President Trump's comments in the cabinet meeting yesterday saying he didn't care about the midterms?
So you're calling President Trump a statesman. You're saying that he is taking a statesman-like position, that he has a core belief, and he believes that the most important thing is for Iran never to have a nuclear weapon. So I believe those things can be true, that we can do well in the midterms, that we perhaps have the makings of a deal here. And I believe that, and look, the economy, that it is challenging now, but unemployment is still low. Tax refunds were high, and consumer spending is still quite high. So in my private business over the years, I always looked at what were consumers doing, not what they were saying. And I'm in constant contact with the banks, and every income quintile is still doing well. Amen.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. On the $250 bill, Mr. Secretary, you said the legalities of it are up on Capitol Hill, but I just wonder what your opinion is personally. Do you think it's a good idea for the president to put his face on America?
Again, the president doesn't do it. The House and the Senate have to do it.
Secretary Bessent, what are the remaining assurances that President Trump needs to see in order for him to sign off on the agreement with Iran?
I don't think it could be clear.
You're following in the footsteps at the podium there of Secretary Rubio and Vice President Vance. There's been quite a lot of talk about their possible presidential ambitions. Does your presence here today indicate that we might see you running in 2020?
No, I think it just means they've run out of things on the food chain.
There's been some back and forth over the last several days, and also with the U.S. attacking Iranian drones yesterday. This morning, CENTCOM put out a statement that Iran had launched its ballistic missile towards Kuwait, calling it an egregious ceasefire violation. How can the administration still argue that a ceasefire is in effect?
Again, with the Iranian government, we did not have regime change, but we changed the regime. As President Trump said at the cabinet meeting, as we've said other times,
Armin, that's exactly what we have been saying.
Wow. We had no regime change, guys. Confirmation from President Trump's administration.
This is why President Trump made a distinction between regime change and a revolution. And Scott just confirmed that. He said there hasn't been a regime change, but we've changed people within the regime because we've gotten rid of like various layers. Right? This is what President Trump means when he talks about the first layer, the second layer, like half of the third layer being gone, right?
Still argue that a ceasefire is in effect.
Again, with the Iranian government, we did not have regime change, but we changed the regime. As President Trump said at the cabinet meeting, as we've said other times, the first layer of leadership was eliminated, the second layer, and we're now at the third layer. And the way to think about it is the Iranian government, such as it is three pillars. It is the elected government, it is the IRGC, and it is the clerics. And they are having trouble communicating. So we are being patient. We do not have unlimited patience. President Trump always prefers a peace deal. So everything we have done thus far has been defensive. And at present, that is what we will continue doing. But if President Trump doesn't think he can get a peace deal, then kinetic is back.
Nice.
Secretary, are you hopeful that the oil prices will go down once this conflict is over, given the fact that the Strait of Hormuz remain closed, and by the time this oil gets to the major markets, could be 2 or 3 months?
Again, we see that the market, I believe, is very well supplied right now. The market seems to be going into balance for itself. So I think that as the strait opens up, we're going to see this burst of ships come out. So we may actually see how quickly can it be refined, how quickly can it get to its destination.
Thank you so much, Alina Shirazi from the Daily Mail. You wrote resilience on your cabinet note meetings. Several times the photographer zoomed into it. Are you trying to keep the president calm? Are you trying to keep yourself calm? Why did you write all those notes?
So people could look over my shoulder, photograph them, and think they got a scoop. So,
Is the United States considering a reconstruction program for Iran if a deal is signed?
Again, I think we got to get to the deal before we get to the other side. Before we get to the you in the pink.
In the red?
No, in the pink.
In the pink, thank you. Cristina Londoño with Telemundo Network. Mr. Secretary, how effective do you believe the current Treasury restrictions have been in pressuring the Cuban government? And also, if you're in the room when those talks are being held, are there any plans to either tighten the sanctions or to ease the sanctions against the Cuban government to get some type of change?
Again, that's going to be up to the Cuban government. That they can go up, they can go down. That we've tried to get humanitarian aid in, and the regime rejected it. So because they wanted to go through their corrupt system. So they could go up, they could go down. It's carrot and stick. Secretary Rubio doing a fantastic job of managing this process, and we at Treasury are working with him. So, in the red.
Reagan Reeves with the Daily Caller. I want to ask you about Antifa. In October, the Treasury Department started working with the FBI to investigate who's funding Antifa. Can you give us an update on that investigation? How close are you guys to finding out who's funding Antifa?
It is ongoing. We made substantial progress, and I think in the weeks and months ahead, we're going to have a lot to report. One thing that did go underreported that I would point out to all of you is the IRS is now giving guidance on the Form 990, which nonprofits they have to file. And we are going to encourage or demand that nonprofits know their grant recipients. So if a grant recipient is violent, if they are suppressing people's rights, then you are responsible for that. And I think that's a very good first step. Yep.
There's new government data that shows that Americans are now saving a smaller share of their incomes than at any time over the past 4 years. Are you seeing signs that American households are dipping into their savings to pay for the higher cost of things like gas and groceries? And does data like that concern you right now?
Well, so a lower academic literature would tell you a lower savings rate can mean one of two things. The kind of the doomer view that you took, or that people have more confidence, or it could be something else, because for instance, stock market gains or 401k gains might not show up in savings, so they're looking at that, think that they can draw down their household savings.
You're obviously concerned about the risks posed by advanced AI models like Mythos to critical infrastructure. The financial sector is concerned as well. What types of changes are being considered to the AI executive order so it can pass? And do you believe that an AI executive order needs to include the pre-public access for government?
Again, we're working very closely with the large language labs. They've been excellent partners, and we are going to get a solution that solves for the maximum calculus. What we want to do, the US is the AI leader in the world. We're an AI superpower. China is second. They are trailing substantially. We want to make sure that we keep that lead. So we are working on the exact calculus between innovation and safety, and we want to optimize for that. So you in the glasses. Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary.
Yeah, in the glasses.
Thank you very much.
No, you don't have glasses on. You're in the glasses.
Thank you for taking my question. There was a report this morning that Justice Alito's son is working in your department. Can you confirm that that's the case? And if so, do you believe that that means that he should be, that the justice should recuse himself from cases that involve your department?
I am sure that Mr. Alito follows all legal and ethical guidelines, and I can assure you that at Treasury, we follow all the legal and ethical guidelines.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. I have two questions for you, but just to follow what you said about the.
Well, you didn't call me doctor, so I only get one.
Well, I'll shoot for two. You said that it's up to Congress. The president's face is on a $250 bill, but it is actually the Washington Post that's reporting two political appointees from the Treasury Department who have asked agencies to be ready to do that. Do you think politically it's a good idea to put his face on a $250 bill when people are struggling to afford gas and groceries?
I don't really understand this Washington Post article. That who hears from the Post? Yep. Terribly written, terribly edited. Because basically what it says is that Treasury is following the law, and that we've created the bill, and that it's up to Congress, but that we follow the bill and it's up to. I didn't really understand what the story was.
So,
but anyway.
Involved in that, two of your political appointees?
Yeah, of course. But we prepare for everything if it gets passed. Just like we were ready 6 months in advance for the one big beautiful bill for tax guidance. So we have to prepare in advance. You can't draw something up the day before.
Politically, do you think it's a good idea though when people are struggling to afford gas and groceries?
Look, I think it has. I think that it's bifurcated. That do you think we should have a 250th anniversary, the celebration?
Well, that's happening anyway. But putting the president's face on a $250 bill
no. But Caitlin, it's not happening anyway. It's happening because it's being funded by private citizens, by the federal government, by state governments, by municipal governments to celebrate our country. And I don't think that there's anything untoward about having the president of the United States, the person who was president of the United States, on the 250th anniversary bill. No.
On Russia sanctions, what you just commented on there, Mr. Secretary, about the $1.8 billion fund. Is it accurate that the General Counsel of the Treasury Department resigned over that?
I will not be taking any other questions. I will not be taking any other questions.
Wall Street over here.
So,
Given the scale of the assault from Russia on Kyiv in recent days, and the fact that diplomacy seems to have settled down, there is no diplomatic talks happening right now between Russia, Ukraine, or the U.S. What about sanctions? Is the U.S. considering sanctions on Russia at this time?
Well, the U.S., this administration has put the hardest sanctions on Russia of any country. So let's review how the sanctions regime has gone since the Russian action on Ukraine. Biden administration put on what I would call mild sanctions because they were worried about gasoline prices going up into an election. It would be an unstatesmanlike sanctions. Probably the worst national security advisor in the history of the country, Jake Sullivan, in an act of bravery on his way out the door in January, they raised the sanction level on behalf of the Trump administration. We let those in situ when we took office. They fast forward to October, and President Trump instructed me to sanction the two largest Russian oil companies, Lukoil and Rosneft, which we did. No other government has done that. So no one has done more sanctions than the Trump administration on Russian oil.
Slava Ukrainian.
No. Here. Who wants to own this? Gray hair. No, gray hair. No, you don't have gray hair. Maybe you do.
When you had breakfast this morning with Fed Chair, did you request that the Fed lower interest rates?
I had breakfast with Chair Powell 41 times, and I never did that. Last question.
Governor Gavin Newsom has floated this idea of a 100% state tax on Californians who receive money from President Trump's anti-weaponization fund. Your response to the governor's call for 100%?
There's no cure for stupid. Okay. Thank you all.
Okay.
Goldie.
So, yeah.
Goldie, like the man with the glasses, and somebody without glasses was like, "You don't have glasses." The woman in the pink shirt, like you, and then somebody said, "You have red shirt." I said pink shirt. The
I know,
man with the gray shirt.
that was
The man
so
with the black
weird.
shirt. Like you don't have gray hair.
I mean, he clearly said the woman in the pink shirt, and I literally heard someone say, "Oh, the red shirt." Like they're hoping that he'll change his mind and pick that pink.
Right, like
pick
oh,
them,
I was
right?
going with pink, but now that you mentioned red, that is my favorite color. So let's switch it. Go with red. I don't know what were you hoping for?
Wow. Well, that was really interesting. I think, pretty much everything that he said, it was nothing new, right? It was just kind of confirmation, except for the one piece of information. And this is why I really like watching, these press briefings in their entirety, because you never know when they're going to say something. And a lot of times media don't catch it. So in this case, I think it was really, really worthwhile to watch this because we got that clip of him saying, the regime has not changed, but there has been a change in the regime. And that's exactly what we have been saying. And that's exactly what, like when President Trump says, oh, regime change, that's what he's been talking about. Because even in his Truth Social post, he has differentiated between regime change and revolution. And he's also made comments like, and who knows, maybe at the end of all this, the Iranian people will rise up. So I think what Scott Besson said is pretty good confirmation that we're on the right track when we're talking about this. When we're talking about what President Trump means when he's talking about regime change.
Oh, Goldie, that reminds me. Speaking of, yesterday when Pete Hegseth was sitting to the left of President Trump and then it was his turn to speak, he referred to the Persian Gulf as the Persian Gulf. And I didn't think much of it until people later reminded me that he used to say Arabian Gulf and he switched to Persian Gulf recently. Because it's under CENTCOM and military years ago because of the connection between the U.S. military and the Arab countries around the Persian Gulf. It was, written down as the Arabian Gulf. But Pete Hegseth, when he said Persian Gulf, so many people, and pointed out to me that, this is the first time Pete Hegseth is saying the Persian Gulf, and that must be on purpose.
So are you talking about yesterday?
When he was having his talk next to President Trump, when he was
Okay,
sitting
so
next
that
to
wasn't the
President
first time that he said Persian Gulf. He did say Persian Gulf months ago. So he did
Okay.
say Persian Gulf a while back, and then everyone was excited. Everyone praised him for it, and then he switched to the Arabian, whatever. I don't even
Oh.
want to bring myself to say that. But what I've noticed, Armin, what I've noticed with Pete Hegseth is that when he is around President Trump and Marco Rubio, he will say Persian Gulf. When he's doing the press briefings by himself with CENTCOM, he'll say the other
The
term.
other one.
That I don't even want to say because it's just like a garbage term. So I've noticed that. So who knows? Because yesterday around when he was, and Marco Rubio has always called it the Persian Gulf, and President Trump
Persian
has
Gulf.
always called it the Persian Gulf as well. So let's see how this plays out. But I have noticed that pattern.
Interesting. Okay, thank you for a more complete picture of what's happening.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so let's go to some of the few super chats really quick before we head out. So Mel Catwoman sent a super sticker. Thank you. Russ
Thank you.
Maga says press pool or cesspool. It's so hard to tell. Wah, wah. Wow. Monica May, Fox, they've been saying that all along about arming. Yeah, I think you're referring to arming the people. It's becoming a more prominent narrative. Initially, it kind of first started with Senator Lindsey Graham and General Jack Keane and some others, and then now it's sort of being sort of like transferred over into the actual mainstream rhetoric and narrative itself, which I think is a very positive sign. Mark Levin as well has been speaking about that. And then Ida says, Durud.
Durud back at you. And thank you for the support.
Okay.
And Goldie, is it okay if I show our discussion group?
Yeah, you don't need to ask. That's pretty much
it's a Persian thing to
do.
do.
Okay, well you don't need to ask anymore. When it's getting to the end of it, you can
okay. It's tar off. Okay.
Okay, so you know what? The next time you ask, I'm just going to say no, and I'll just delete the widget.
Wow. Okay. Oh my God. So aggressive.
No,
okay. Okay. All right. Okay. So guys, we are going to our discussion group today, as we do every day. So come join us there. I'll put the link in the chat. You could scan the QR code at the top right of the screen. The link is also on my YouTube channel, Liberty Politics Bio. So you could get to the link there as well. So we're going to go and have our conversation about everything that's happening in Iran, in the Middle East, and in the United States, Ukraine, Cuba. Cuba is getting a big, a lot of people are now talking about Cuba a lot more because there's a lot of stuff happening there. So yeah, anything geopolitics related, Islamization of Europe and how to defend against it. So yeah, if you want to talk about anything politics related, come join us there. Our next conversation is going to be in 8 minutes. So I hope I'll see you guys there. And yeah, that was that.
Great.
Fantastic. All right, guys. And we'll see. Oh, Goldie, what do you have coming up? Do you want to talk about?
Yeah, I'm continuing my live stream watch party from last night. So we're going to continue watching President Trump's press, like the cabinet secretary meeting. So we're going to be doing a little bit of that, checking on the news. And then afterwards, because I did promise, like I was going to share footage from Iranians in occupied Iran. Wasn't able to do that last night because of obviously the breaking news. So I'm probably like after I'm done the live stream watch party, I'll be doing another live stream probably after to go over all the videos that I prepared and shared.
Perfect, guys. Make sure you don't miss any of that. And we got one last super chat by Push Up saying, "Give Armin a raise." Yeah, Goldie, give me a raise. Just kidding.
I mean, I pay you nothing, so sure. I mean,
double that.
You know what? I will triple it for you. How about that?
Oh my God, guys, triple it. Thank you so much, Goldie. I appreciate that. So push-ups and give Armin a raise for being a sane libertarian who is, oh, thank you, who is based on Ukraine. Yes, Slava Ukraine, yeah. And they're saying, remember who's on regime side and who's on Pahlavi side. Yes, don't you forget. Don't you forget. And thank you for the support. All right, guys. So that was that. And we'll see you guys same time tomorrow on Iran Revolution Live. Until then, I'm Israel Chai. Long live America.
God bless America.
Javicha.
پاینده ایران.
Iran. See you guys
See you guys tomorrow.
غرق انقلاب است. کشور ما، تاریخ ما در سینگر فرا گرفته، گویی اهورا مستا دوباره در نور خود مرا گرفته. اکنون سرودی سر میدهم باز فارغ از رنج و تشویش. ایران غرق انقلاب است، به پیش به پیش به پیش. ایران غرق انقلاب است، به پیش به پیش به پیش. هن ای پدر، هن ای پسر، برخیز و با ما شو همگام، تا درد آن تجربه تلخ ما را نکشیده در پا. بگذار هر دم بغرند گرگ‌ها در لباس میش. ایران غرق انقلاب است، به پیش به پیش به پیش. ایران غرق انقلاب است، به پیش به پیش به پیش. ای کارگر، ای برزگر، راحت کنون ادامه دارد در این زمان که پرتو یزدان از هر سو بر تو میبارد. پس پیش به سوی آزادی از بحر خزر تا کیش. ایران غرق انقلاب است، به پیش به پیش به پیش. ایران غرق انقلاب است، به پیش به پیش به پیش. خلقا به پا، بهر دفاع از استقلال و آزادی، تا بشکنیم پشت ارتجاع تیریزی ویران آبادی. تا زنده سازیم سنت‌های می از بر بالین و کیش. ایران غرق انقلاب است، به پیش به پیش به پیش. ایران غرق انقلاب است، به پیش به پیش به پیش. با امید روزی که تمام این دلبشو و انقلاب تموم بشه و ما در روشنایی، نور و سعادت مردم کشورمون غرق بشیم. نه خارجی، نه بیگانه، نه مستشارهای ویرانی، نه چیر خاران، نه کاسه لیسان، فقط هم رزمان ایرانی. با شرافت میهنی بسازی بهر فرزندان خویش. ایران غرق انقلاب است، به پیش به پیش به پیش. ایران غرق انقلاب است، به پیش به پیش به پیش. مردان بیایید داخل صف ما، اکنون که آغاز رویاست. دشمنان بدانید ما زنده هستیم، بعد از ما هم ایران پابرجاست. آن روح شیطان ما را فریب داد با صد شعار مردمیش. ایران غرق انقلاب است، به پیش به پیش به پیش. ایران غرق انقلاب است، به پیش به پیش به پیش. پرچم ما، پرچم ایران غرق خون شهیدان، روی شانه هامان حمل میکنیمش در هر خیابان و میدان تا ماسک دلغکان را برداریم از روی تسبیح و ریگ